Daniel Carter didn't cry when he was born. Not a single scream. His mother, Grace, felt it before the doctors confirmed it. Something was different. Daniel was quiet. He didn't make eye contact. He flinched at sounds. He rarely smiled. The diagnosis came when he was 3. Autism spectrum disorder. Severe. Nonverbal. His father, Richard, took one look at the paper and said, "That's not a child. That's a curse." But Grace held Daniel tighter. "No," she whispered. "He's a gift. You just don't see it yet." Daniel's world was small. Routines, puzzles, silence. He couldn't speak, but he understood everything. Every sigh. Every eye roll. Every time his father ignored him. The only one who truly saw Daniel was Michael, his older brother, 10 years his senior, his protector, his interpreter, his hero. Michael taught Daniel to hold a pencil, to count stars, to find calm in chaos. When others saw a broken boy, Michael saw a quiet genius. One day, Michael would say, ruffling his hair, "You're going to show them who you are." One Friday evening, they walked home from the bookstore. A scream pierced the alley. A woman being robbed. A man wielding a knife. Michael stepped forward without thinking. "Take her bag. Leave her alone." But the robber panicked. The knife flashed. Daniel watched frozen as his brother collapsed, blood pouring from his chest. People screamed. Phones recorded. Daniel couldn't move, couldn't call for help, couldn't save him. Michael looked at Daniel with the last strength in his body. No words, just trust. Then silence. The kind of silence that changes everything. Michael was buried under gray skies. Richard didn't show up. Daniel didn't cry. He didn't make a sound. He just sat by the coffin, holding a medical textbook Michael had gifted him. Inside the book's cover, Michael had written, "For Dr. Daniel Carter, future world changer." That night, Daniel scribbled a single sentence on a crumpled sheet of paper. "I will save others. For the one I couldn't." That was the night Daniel decided to become a surgeon. Years passed. Daniel learned to write fluently. He couldn't speak, but he found ways to communicate, gestures, text-to-speech, drawing diagrams to explain medical theories better than his professors. Despite being misunderstood, mocked, and underestimated, Daniel graduated top of his class in medical school. But the struggle was far from over. When he applied for surgical residency, every hospital rejected him. "You're brilliant, but what if you freeze under pressure? How will you communicate in the OR?" One rejection even said, "We don't think patients would feel safe." That one hurt the most. He was trying to save people, but they were afraid of his silence. One rainy afternoon, Daniel walked past a busy intersection. Suddenly, screech! A child darted into the street. A speeding car slammed its brakes. Too late. The boy's body hit the ground hard. Blood, screams, chaos. Bystanders pulled out their phones. No one moved. But Daniel sprinted. He dropped to his knees beside the child, saw a gushing wound on the thigh. Femoral artery. The boy had minutes. Maybe less. Daniel worked fast, using a belt as a tourniquet, elevating the leg, clearing the airway. Calm, precise. Paramedics arrived. One looked at him and said, shocked, "Are you a doctor?" Daniel pulled a card from his wallet. Dr. Daniel Carter, surgeon. Within hours, the video went viral. Autistic doctor saves child's life in public. The silent surgeon who acted when no one did. TV stations covered it. News anchors choked up telling the story. Hashtags trended. Hashtag silent hero. Hashtag Dr. Carter. Hashtag ability not disability. The same hospitals that had turned him away were now calling him nonstop. At one of the top hospitals in the country, Daniel sat before a board of interviewers. The chief of surgery leaned forward. "Dr. Carter, after all you've been through, why surgery?" Daniel tapped on his device. The words echoed through the room. "Because the world stood still the day my brother died. And I couldn't speak. So now I let my hands do the speaking. I became what I needed that day. Someone who runs toward the pain, not away from it." The room was silent. And then applause. He was offered not just a position, but a place to lead a new department focused on neurodivergent medical professionals. Years later, Daniel performed complex surgeries, trained others, and led research on how autistic minds could reshape medicine. He didn't just become a doctor. He became a pioneer. His once silent world was now filled with purpose. Hospitals adapted. Patients felt safe. Society changed, not because Daniel did, but because he refused to. One day, as he visited a classroom for autistic children, a little boy tugged his sleeve and asked through a device, "Can I be like you one day?" Daniel smiled, typed one word, "Yes."